Hi guys, I'm Maya Thornton and I'm going to be responding to the Breonna Taylor case. Breonna Taylor was an African-American EMT who was shot and killed by the Louisville police in her own apartment in March of 2020. She was murdered during a botched raid. When you look through the eyes of Black history, you can see connections between the treatment of Breonna Taylor and the history of Black women in the Americas. The concept of intersectionality becomes very relevant in the Breonna Taylor case. Intersectionality is the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, and gender as they apply to a given individual or group, regarding as creating overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or disadvantage. In the Breonna Taylor case, the intersectionality is between being Black and being a female. Awareness of the level of violence by the police towards Black women is exceedingly low, and the wrongful death of Breonna Taylor highlights this idea. Ms. Taylor's death was brought to the media by her friends and family, and without them trying to gather awareness and promote the wrongful and horrible death of Breonna Taylor, she would just be another nameless and wrongful death by the police. Thankfully, through all of this tragedy, there was a new movement that was started, the Say Her Name movement. The idea to say the names of the women that have been murdered by police and by police brutality. The levels of social injustice of Black women needs to be addressed, and learning about Black women's history helps to bridge the gap of knowledge on this important topic. Learning about how women were treated on the transatlantic slave trade and treated by plantation owners helps realize why we're at where we're at today, where there's still brutality towards Black women in the Americas. So just some background information on the case. Breonna Taylor was wrongfully murdered by a botched raid in March of 2020. The warrant to search her apartment was falsified and the police did not wear body cameras. Now the Louisville police is required to wear body cameras anytime they're doing a search warrant. The police did not announce that they were the police. They just banged on the door multiple times and then broke it down with a battering ram. This piece of information is contradicting to both stories. The police said they had announced that they were the police, and Breonna Taylor's boyfriend said that they were never told they were the police, and they kept calling out, "Who are you?" and there was no response. After her boyfriend fired his gun as for protection because they did not know who was banging at their door in the middle of the night, the police shot back and shot Breonna 5 times. They fired 22 rounds in less than a minute. Bullets went all over the apartment and into the next apartment. Breonna Taylor was on the ground and she did not receive any medical attention, and she passed away moments later. And there was no urgency in getting her help. The police didn't realize she was down. The brutality of her death is absolutely heartbreaking, and it's so hard to see how police brutality towards a Black female resulted in a death of a young EMT. So in conclusion, learning about the unfair and brutal death of Breonna Taylor helps us greater understand the brutality and unfairness of Black women's history. Learning about the history of Black women in the Americas helps bring even more awareness to what really happened in the past and why things are still going on today. Some people to their core are just unjust, inhumane, selfish people, whereas other people are just ignorant and haven't yet been educated on the treatment of Black women in America, and it is our job to do that. It is our job to help educate them and help them understand the injustices that are still in our world today. And if you are ignorant and think that there is injustice in the world, I don't know where you've been living. Just like the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The only way we're going to abolish anti-Black gendered violence is to bring awareness to the topic and to stand up for what is right, stand up for Black women who don't have a voice, stand up for the people who've passed away and their names have not been spoken. That's our job to bring awareness to this topic and to stand up and to greater influence what people know about this topic. Thank you.